Well, guys, Canadian immigration has gone through a wave of changes in the last week itself, and we've seen so many news articles, interviews of the immigration minister. In fact, the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was also up there, in a news interview, and he was talking about the upcoming changes. So we will talk about what changes have happened in the past week in terms of Canadian immigration, including LMIAs and the work permit issues and all of that. And also we will talk about what could be expected in the oncoming few weeks, because the fall season is arriving and Canada could be tabling its immigration levels plan very soon. So if you are interested in moving to Canada, you should be watching this video up until the end. My name is Sahil, and I'll see you on the other side. Guys, welcome back once again. My name is Sahil, and I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and I practice here in Ontario. My office is here. If you have to get in touch with me, my number is on the screen and the details are there in the description box. More than happy to speak with you. Before we proceed any further, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because we talk a lot about Canadian immigration. And if you are an aspirant of moving to Canada, then this is a channel that you must be subscribed to all the time. So, guys, the last week, or rather the mid of August 2024, has been a cause of greater concern for a lot of people, because IRCC has unveiled a lot of potential changes. Now, what really happened was IRCC was becoming, or Canadian immigration was becoming, the center of attraction because of the ongoing frauds surrounding the temporary foreign worker program. Now, essentially, temporary foreign worker program generally would require an LMIA. In a layman understanding, that an LMIA is basically a work sponsorship. Now, as a part of temporary foreign worker program, most of the work permit situations would require an applicant to get an LMIA. Unfortunately, these LMIAs have been a cause of greater concern, because agents across the globe, employers inside Canada, agents inside Canada, ghost agents, consultants, lawyers, everybody, every sort of person has been someplace or the other involved in these frauds. I'm not saying everybody, but every type of person would or has been involved. And these concerns have been raised by applicants, workers, people who've been affected drastically. So, monetary losses, people have been, taken advantage of, vulnerable workers, and all of that. So, what happened was there was a Senate committee that generated its report. They said that yes, it is true, there are a lot of frauds happening surrounding the temporary foreign worker program. Again, in UN, the report was produced and they expressed greater concern in this program. Hence, the government was put under a lot of pressure. Eventually, the government was forced and they had started changing the low wage LMIs. Now, while low wage LMIs is a whole topic by itself, they introduced changes and they said that okay, we are not going to process low wage changes, low wage LMIs, and we are stopping the processing. Please follow through. Then previously they had also talked about changes on the flag polling. They said PGWPs, or postgraduate work permit holders, would not be allowed to do work permits at the border. Student visas, they started implementing levels on student visas, number of people who could come. Only a few people could apply for student visas, and then they started changing the spousal work permits as well. So everything was happening up until mid of August. Then people started protesting because a lot of people were facing issues around expiring work permits. So following that, IRCC said that okay, people who are inside Canada applying for PNPs, or provincial nominee programs, would be allowed to, and this was a news this week only, so would be allowed to apply for a work permit, an open work permit, provided they get a support letter from the PNP or the province, and they get a letter of employment from the employer. That was very good, and they finally did that. One big blow to the entire industry was basically when they said that we will not allow visitors inside Canada to apply for a work permit inside Canada. Although there is a circumvent around this, which is called flag polling, but again, flag polling is not that easy because you are actually facing an officer in person, and if the officer is not happy with your answers, or if the officer is not fully convinced, that could ultimately lead to somebody being inadmissible, deported, and whatnot, right? So facing the officer is not always an easy option. So these are broadly a summary. This is broadly a summary of the changes that have happened so far. What's coming next is even bigger. Justin Trudeau and Mark Miller, who's the immigration minister, Justin Trudeau, who's the prime minister, uh, were recently in a news, in certain news interviews, and they said that the immigration authorities are not stopping here. They are looking at even more changes in the coming weeks, because fall is the time when Canada releases its immigration levels plan every year. Now, what's going to happen is this particular year, Canada will not only talk about permanent residents, but they will also talk about temporary residents. Levels plan basically decides that in the next 3 years, what are the kind of numbers is Canada looking at? So the previous levels plan said that okay, we could see almost 500,000 people every year, or even more than that. So and then the immigration department follows that pattern in the entire year and makes adjustment to the quotas of PNPs, quotas of immigration, quotas of express entry, PRs, and everything. So the immigration levels plan is coming soon, probably around November or September. But the department is already sitting in discussions, and here are the couple of next changes that are expected. um, the immigration department could be issuing or could be eyeing high wage LMIAs, and more changes could come through in the high wage LMIAs as well. Temporary foreign worker is currently under the scanner. Potentially more changes around the temporary foreign worker could come. Second, we are already aware that Canada is eyeing to change the postgraduate work permit program as well. Could be matching that to the regional level kind of program, or the college level, or the course level. Okay, so that is supposed to come through somewhere next year, early next year. But yes, that is also currently under discussion. IRCC is deeply concerned about, or the Canadian government is deeply concerned about the number of temporary residents inside Canada. While they've already announced changes in student visas, next could be workers. The Senate committee said that shut down temporary foreign worker program completely. You have to change it. IRCC said that we will look at the next 3 months while we are doing these changes, and we will now come with further changes around the fall. So end of this year could see more changes around temporary foreign worker program. Another element of surprise, I'm not sure about this, but I'm highly guessing that another element of surprise could be that instead of increasing the level of permanent residents in the country, Canada could look at reducing the number of permanent residents being approved to come to Canada. Okay, although we have had the previous levels going up, this year's projections could be lower than this. Okay, that could be one of the issues. Canada could look at, or there is news in the market that very soon we will have certain new programs coming through for low skilled workers, especially in tier 4 and tier 5. Special pathways could be coming for them. Canada could also look at certain other PR pathways for people inside Canada, Canadian experience class people. While the draws have already been happening, Canadian experience class or people inside Canada could start getting more exposure to programs. And finally, regionalized draws. I'm waiting for them to come through. Not sure when they would start happening, but yes, the regional based draws. People going to remote areas, people going outside GTAs, or outside the metropolitan areas, could also be looking at more draws. Well, these are broadly the summary of expected changes. None of them have a firm backing, because these are just words that have been gathered around through interviews of ministers and influential people. Hopefully, we would see more changes. But the coming end of 2024 and the first quarter of 2024 will be very, very exciting, because the federal elections of Canada are around the corner, and the Liberal government is doing everything to please the local Canadian population. I know immigration has never won a battle, while it could be a losing battle for the Liberals, but we don't know. But they're at least trying their best to convince Canadians that they are thinking for Canadians. They're not, or they are, we don't know. Only elections will tell. Guys, I hope the video today was helpful. Gave you much insights into the world of Canadian immigration. If you are interested, please do consider subscribing to the channel. If you like the video, do hit the like button and share it with your friends. Also, if you have anything to discuss with me, please feel free to schedule an appointment and I would be more than happy to discuss your case. Once again, I wish you all the best and I really hope to see you soon in Canada. All the best.